Hello, so it's another performance tonight, this time in Surrey, at a club called Three Heads in a Well, which is actually a very traditional old story. But also they have a well here, it's called Ewell, and there's a picture of three heads by the well, so it's all very serendipitous. And the storytelling's taking place in a holy space, and it's a special church where all denominations are welcomed. And I think I'm doing the Devil, the Maiden and the Crow, because that's what's been advertised. But I might do Song of the Sulky again, we'll see. Not sure. Don't tell anybody. So this is the lovely space, and this is the foyer, and you leave your shoes outside, which is nice and cosy. And it smells like lavender, which is rather lovely. Look at that, beautiful.
Story about old Mother Rush, who went to the market, and old Mother Rush went to the market and she bought a basic bag of groceries. So what's she going to have in a basic bag of groceries?
Potatoes.
Potatoes? I like potatoes. Tomatoes. Carrots.
Go to leave the home and to face the future for their own independence. The eldest one was called Charles and the youngest one was called James. And Charles was very ambitious and he wanted to make a lot of money in the life. But James was a lovely, lovely boy and he was a very deep thinker, so they walked on and on together.
Out, and already they'd occupied about half of Judea. Now, in Judea, there was a small town called Bethalia that was completely walled, and the small army there of the Judeans had held out against Peloponnese, but eventually Peloponnese and the Assyrian army completely surrounded Bethalia.
Delicious.
And naughtiness.
Perfect.
And it does involve me last Sunday. Anybody here know Pine Garden? Right, we know the primary school one. That's where it happened.
Uh-oh.
Fishing village lay a skeleton on. Nobody quite knew how she got there, but the story went around that her father was angry with her one day and took her and threw her over a cliff edge, and so she sank, and she went down to the very bottom. And over the years, of course, the fish ate her flesh, and corals grew in her eyes and her ears and her teeth, and she lay there untouched. But the local fishermen knew not to fish there anymore, they would go elsewhere.
Farmer. And this was a farmer who owned one field. And he worked his one field from morning to night. And in the evening he'd come back to his cottage, which was at the side of his one field, and just before he stepped through his front door, he would look at the field next to his. And the field next to his wasn't his field.
Old crow crow, moon eater, soul breeder, old crow crow, seed taker, life maker, old crow crow. In the beginning was the sea, warm and salty, churning and yearning and turning, and there at the bottom of the sea were thousands of tiny eyes, white like seeds, white like lychees, turning over and over in those warm, salty waters of creation. And in the beginning was Crow. There was once a pretty maid called Ibronka. She should have been being the happiest maid in the whole village. There as it nestled itself like a shimmering brooch in the green shawl of the Hungarian forest. Everybody remarked on her eyes, blue like the sea, and the way her dark hair tumbled over her pale white shoulders. And in her hand she held an apple, and in the other she held a knife. And in Bronca she started to peel the apple, making sure that the peel stayed in one perfect piece. And as she spun, she started to think of the quality she would want in a lover. She would want somebody wide-shouldered and slim-hipped and dark-haired and full-lipped and strong-armed and firm-thighed and warm-voiced and brown-eyed. And the devil, he turns up, knocking at the door, and there's no answer. He's a bit annoyed, he would be. And he's there, his little hooves keep clapping and his tongue lip flapping and his tail wagging. And he stands there and he sniffs the air with his little devil's nose and he tastes the air with his little devil's tongue and he tastes on the air and he sets off after it. His little hooves keep clapping and his tongue lip flapping and his tail wagging. And he finds out and he's so happy with himself. He's so happy with himself. If he'd been a little dog, his little doggish tail would have been wagging. As it was his little devil's tail. And he Bronca finds you kind of and he had problems with this. And so he dropped the cradle first. And the girls and the boys called out, "Cat's cradle, 1, 2, 3, Jacob, a story now from thee." So Jacob scratched his head and he was thinking of a story of the devil. So he started his story. My grandmother, he said, that's a traditional Hungarian accent. My grandmother, she was a midwife. 3 drops of 3 I will take, 3 times 3 years it will make. And she punctured Bronca's temple. And she took a silver bowl and collected 3 drops of blood. 3 dreams I take, she said. She took her nail and punctured Bronca's hand. 3 duties I take, she said. She took her nail and she punctured Bronca's breast. 3 dreams, 3 duties, 3 desires I take, my child. And as the blood dropped into the silver bowl, it hardened into 9 little red rubies. And so, old Crow Crow, a shape of shadows, a shadow of shapes, tattered feathers hanging at her naked armpits, put a spinning wheel in front of Bronca and said, "Spin. Spin your dreams." So Bronca spun. She spun the thread. All the dreams there in her head, she spun them all into the thread. She spun until her fingers bled. Bronca bled into the thread. She bled until the thread turned red. For 3 long years she spun the thread. For 3 long years Bronca bled. Then old Crow Crow, in a shape of shadow of shapes, pushed her head over Bronca's head. She placed her dried, cracked lips against Bronca's soft, cold lips and the breath of memory, child, she said.
Peter Hardwick.
Lovely. And you've just seen the show tonight and have been to the storytelling evening. What did you think of it all?
The whole evening was wonderful, but I thought your performance, Catrice, was truly remarkable. I love the theatre, so I'm used to seeing performances at the National Theatre Yvonne Arno in Guildford and Wimbledon.
Uh-huh.
So I thought your performance was truly remarkable. The emotion and feelings that you put in it, and the story was so very, very varied. Also, a bit of mythology, a bit of real life, real drama. I do love your ability to show the whole range of expression and emotion, lots of energy. And look, I dance, so I noticed the way that you move, like a dancer. Absolutely, I was noticing, being a dancer particularly, all your movement.
What dance do you do?
I do two things. I do flamenco and ragshaki. That's Middle Eastern dance.
Gosh.
As an amateur, not as a professional.
Well, I kind of want to spend more time with you, sir. Okay, hold on.
It's got a really nice, familiar feeling.
Yeah.
Really, down to earth story club.
Welcome as well, hasn't it? Yeah.
And it's nice how there's a real mixture of. I've come here I think 4 times. And there's a mixture of this really regular people who come every month.
And then the
who
newbies.
often come and tell a story, and then having this really good professional artist. I saw. And we've seen you now, and I've also seen Hugh Lupton.
Oh, I love Hugh's work.
Yeah, and incredible.
Yeah.
He did an amazing one about Arthur Ransom.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I saw another Cornish storyteller telling a Selkie story.
Was that Mike O'Connor?
It was.
Yeah, I've got a lot of time for Mike. He does a lot of research, so much integrity. Actually, both Hugh and Mike have got so much integrity as storytellers. Yeah, and my show tonight, what did you think?
I loved it. It was, I loved the incantational aspect of it, using this really repetitive language. Every time it was the crow, having this the same phrases used again and again, and that was very hypnotic. And I really love the Hungarian stories. Got this really dark juiciness.
They have,
they're not clear.
They're not pretty sweet things. No.
And they've sort of, in a way, they've on the surface of them, they look like they could be quite similar to the world of a Grimm story. But then you go deeper, and it's just Grimm just looks so two-dimensional.
Totally.
In comparison.
Because what I love particularly in that story is you have the devil. And then he turns into the hero on the quest.
Yeah.
Because what I would love to do is extend that part of the story. So you find out while Libronka's lying in her grave, what is the devil doing? Because there's a whole load of Hungarian devil stories. So you could link all of those in. But I love the idea that he changes from archetype. It fascinates me. Hello, so I'm back from Ewell and the Three Heads in a Well Storytelling Club, which was just lovely. And as you can see from the clip, loads of brilliant storytellers. And I really liked the older lady and the older man. They were a married couple, and he did flamenco, and she was Persian and she spoke Farsi, and they were just absolutely gorgeous. So well done to everybody who organises that, and because it was brilliant. And again, it's just a little taste of some of the storytelling that happens in Great Britain. A lot of it is done through people making grant applications. Some of it is done and funded through what people take on the door. It's all a bit hodgepodge, but I was about to swear, but really wonderful. And thank God we've got people like Janet and Jeff and all the other people in Surrey who support the storytelling there, and all the other promoters of storytelling around the UK, because without them, no storytellers would have the platforms to perform, and it would be a very different situation to the one it is now. Thank you, all of you. Brilliant work.